A hollow whisper threads through the veil of eternal blossoms. It echoes where Amenthul tore Shaarj from the world. Azeroth's sea veins was never a weapon. Ny'alotha's pulsing citadel, Ulduar's frostbound spires, the sword of justice etch a scar. The dragon aspects did not seal the void key to defeat it. Sealed they void key to eternal defeat, it buried a blossom's titan-crafted lock, Thul a cage for the Tor old Shaarj from the god's world corruption. Azeroth's sea veins was never a weapon. It was a wound waiting to bloom. The Pantheon's oaths carved Azeroth's veins into a crypt. The dragon aspects did not bury the void key, they entombed it. Azeroth's world soul, bound to the old god's prison, became the lock. Titans wove the key's chains into the earth's breath, a snare for unraveling. What stirs in the forbidden reach is not escape. It is the key's bloom splitting the Pantheon's ancient seal. Did the Titans foresee this fracture, or is the wound their final warning? The Pantheon's trap holds, but the void's whisper grows loud in Azeroth's blood. The rift's edges fray, the world soul trembles. The key was never meant to stay buried, it was meant to awaken the cage. The dragon aspects did not seal the void's throat out of fear. They buried the key as architects, not prisoners. Tyr's shadow stretched across the forbidden reach, his proto-dragon allies coiling like living chains around the rift's pulsing wound. The earth drank their essence, the obsidian veins, crystallizing with the breath of ancient serpents. This was no hasty tomb. It was a glyph of containment etched by titan hands. The key's teeth the world's spine, each jagged edge a paradox, a lock that could only be opened by its own collapse. The Pantheon's myth tells of a desperate act, a last stand against chaos, but the truth hums colder. Tyr's alliance with proto-dragons was never about victory, it was about calibration. After Galakrond's Leviathan form was sundered, its carcass became the anvil. The aspect's wings carved arcs of binding light, not to smother the void, but to prime its prison. The key's core, a shard of titan alloys, glowed with a hunger not for darkness, but for balance. A trap whose prize was the void's very will to escape, yet the design had a flaw. The aspects, bound by their purpose, could not see the mechanism's end. The key's chains were not meant to hold forever, they were meant to awaken. Each breath of the world's soul fed its gears, each death a whispered password. The Pantheon, for all their omniscience, did not account for time's rust, or for the whispers that seeped into the aspect's dreams, promises of release for those who understood the cage. The rift's edges fray. The world soul trembles. The key was never meant to stay buried, it was meant to awaken the cage. And now, as the aspect's hymns falter, the question festers: who among the Pantheon truly desired the void's return? And who among the dragons still sings the old equations, hoping to turn the key in the other direction? The vault's geometry was no accident. Titans wove its corridors through Azeroth's bones, a labyrinthine keyhole waiting for the void's inevitable turn. Tyr's hammer, Loken's forge, Odin's mind, each watcher anchored a facet of the trap, their purpose not to fight, but to hold the equation steady. The curse of flesh, Yogg-Saron's slow poison, was the lock's final tumblers, a rot to erode any construct bold enough to tamper with the design. Was not a myth, was the buried an exit. Every scale of Nozdormus wing, every glyph etched by Maligos, served the same silent calculus. Should the void's hunger fracture reality again, the key would seal it deeper. The forbidden reach's depths hum with that promise, a hymn of titan-crafted stone. What the dragons guarded was not victory, but vigilance. The Pantheon's shadow plays on every glyph, every breath of the watchers. Even now, the key sleeps in the world's veins, its mechanism pristine. A question lingers, older than the sundering. When the next age cracks the code, will the vault's doors swing inward or outward? The Titans did not seal the void, they buried a cipher. Deep in Azeroth's veins, the dragon aspects interred a keyknot to lock away chaos, but to bind it to a language only dead gods could speak. Yogg-Saron's curse of flesh was no accident, it was a failsafe. A rot to hollow titan-forged flesh, ensuring no living construct could ever turn the mechanism. The Pantheon's flaw was not their absence. It was their arrogance. They built a vault to cage the void, unaware the old gods had already etched their prison into the stone. Zoth's whispers did not break free at the sundering, they bled through cracks the Titans had carved. The forbidden reach, now stirring beneath Dragonflight's shadow, is no recent wound. It is a gash left open, a seal fraying since the aspects first buried the key in a world not yet ready to hold it. The cataclysm was not the first death, it was the first sigh of something older, flexing in the dark. What the aspects hid was never meant to stay hidden. The key's mechanism remains pristine, its purpose unfulfilled. Azeroth's veins hum with a code the Pantheon forgot to erase. And in the silence between stars, the old gods wait not for release, but for translation. When the next age cracks the code, will the vault's doors swing inward or outward? The answer lies in the curse that hollowed Titans, the rift that never closed, and the whisper that turned a world's bones to dust. The Titans did not seal the void, they buried a cipher. Deep in Azeroth's veins, the dragon aspects interred a keyknot to lock away chaos, but to bind it to a language only dead gods could speak. Yogg-Saron's curse of flesh was no accident, it was a failsafe. A rot to hollow Titan-forged flesh, ensuring no living construct could ever turn the mechanism. The Pantheon's flaw was not their absence. It was their arrogance. They built a vault to cage the void, unaware the old gods had already etched their prison into the stone. Zoth's whispers did not break free at the sundering, they bled through cracks the Titans had carved. The forbidden reach, now stirring beneath Dragonflight's shadow, is no recent wound. It is a gash left open, a seal fraying since the aspects first buried the key in a world not yet ready to hold it. The cataclysm was not the first death, it was the first sigh of something older, flexing in the dark. What the aspects hid was never meant to stay hidden. The key's mechanism remains pristine, its purpose unfulfilled. Azeroth's veins hum with a code the Pantheon forgot to erase. And in the silence between stars, the old gods wait not for release, but for translation. When the next age cracks the code, will the vault's doors swing inward or outward? The answer lies in the curse that hollowed Titans, the rift that never closed, and the whisper that turned a world's bones to dust. The chains that bound the void were not forged by dragonfire or Titan steel. They were woven from the breath of a dying god Norganon, the aspect of time, who carved the key's prison into the world's own heartbeat. His final act was not to seal a rift, but to become one. The Pantheon, in their haste to erase their failures, never saw the trap they built. The Void Lords, patient as starlight crossing dead oceans, waited for the day their captors would mistake their cage for a cradle. Zovaal, the first to flee, did not run from the maw, he unmade it. His rituals did not exploit Titan weaknesses, the asterisk revealed them. The blood on ancient stone was not his own, but the last gasp of a Titan's core, siphoned to fuel a lockpick carved from celestial bone. When the aspect's whispers turned to wails, the prison's spires began to crumble, not from assault, but from the weight of a truth too vast to hold. The key was never meant to stay buried. It was a promise that the Pantheon's architects had outlived their purpose. The last to stand was not a dragon, nor a Titan. It was the echo of a name the world forgot, Yogg-Saron, the keeper of veins. His body became the bridge between the key and the prison's heart, his voice a hymn to bind what the Pantheon had abandoned. But the void does not bargain, it consumes asterisk. His song turned to silence as the chains snapped, each link dissolving into a star-swallowed whole. Now, the maw breathes again. Xal'atath's wings, black as unspoken prayers, stir the ashes of Titan oaths. The key's prison is a husk, its walls etched with the same curse that hollowed the Titans. What use is a lock, after all, if the keyholder is long dead in the door? The aspects did not bury the void. They invited at home. And the world's veins, once a cage, now pulse with the rhythm of an escape that was never a mistake. The void drift in the forbidden reach does not whisper, it screams asterisk. Its maw, stitched with Zovaal's corrupted rituals, pulses like a second heartsickly violet light bleeding through fractured obsidian. The air here is thick with the stench of burnt bone and something sweeter, rotting, the afterbirth of creation, abandoned. Titan runic plates, once unbroken, now lie shattered, their jagged edges cradling pools of liquid shadow. Each shard hums a discordant hymn, a failed elegy for a world that forgot to mourn. The veil of eternal blossoms blooms in defiance of death, its flowers violet silver, black and furrow like veins of a lung long removed. Amanthal's wound here is not a scar but a asterisk whole asterisk, a place where beauty and absence collide. The blossoms drink the blood of the world and grow fat, their perfume a narcotic lie. Below the earth asterisk bleeds asterisk not red, but a colorless glacial seep, the fluid of a god's absence. Shaarj's removal left a flaw no titan could mend. Xal'atath's ascension was no accident. The void key, buried as a lock, now groans under pressure. The aspects did not seal the void, they asterisk anchored asterisk it, their runes acting as both shackle and conduit. But the Pantheon's design had one flaw: eternity. The key was never meant to hold forever, it was meant to asterisk by time asterisk. Now that time is ending, the blossoms wilt at the edges, the rift's pulse grows faster. And in the veil where the light should be eternal, shadows stretch taller, hungrier. The world's veins do not pulse with life, they asterisk count asterisk. 1, 2, 3, the lock is breaking. Tyr's gaze still burns in Ulduar's shattered spires. Once his hammer sealed the void's maw, now rusted chains coil where his hands should be. The Watcher's prison hums with a silence thicker than death, every crack in the stone whispers of a key that was never meant to lock. Yogg-Saron's breath does not cease. The fates loom in Zinazal weaves threads of rot, each strand a soul bent toward the curse of flesh. What the old god murmurs to the stars is not madness, it is a script, a rehearsal, the void's script. Deep in the maw, Zovaal's blood etches sigils on the air. His rituals do not fight the void lords, the asterisk honor asterisk them. Each failed escape is a thread in their tapestry. Patience, the rituals say, the lock is not breaking, it is asterisk yielding asterisk. Loken's forge in the echoing grove still dreams of Titan steel. The fallen Watcher's chains drip not with iron, but with the black ichor of things that burrow. His hammer, shattered in the war of the ancients, now cradles a seed that blooms when the aspects breathe. Odin's mind, fractured in Stormheim's halls, circles the same riddle. The Titan's final theorem was not a shield, it was an address. A return address, the void key in the world's veins is no weapon, it is a doorknob. Xal'atath's wings, now unshackled, cast long shadows over the broken shore. The Ascended's rise is no accident. The Pantheon's trap was never to cage the void, it was to asterisk guide asterisk it, to lead the hunger home. The dragon aspects did not bury the key, they planted it. Azeroth's veins pulse not with life but with a count, 1, 2, 3. The lock was never meant to hold, it was meant to asterisk open asterisk. Titan runic plates crackle beneath the forbidden reach, their sigils glow, cold and ancient. The Pantheon's hand is etched in every glyph, no desperate plea, but a calculated design. Flesh architecture fragments writhe, fleshy remnants of old gods bound in corrupted anima. They do not rot, they asterisk remember asterisk. Watcher tablets lie scattered, their warnings etched in fractured speech. Asterisk the key is the lock. The lock is the key. Asterisk the veil of eternal blossoms blooms where Shaarj's throat was ripped free. Amanthal's scar, not a garden. The dragon aspects did not bury the void key to seal it, they buried it to awaken. The Pantheon's Watcher's tears pride, Loken's hunger, Odin's blindness were not guardians, they were gears, a machine to maintain the illusion of containment. The veins of Azeroth pulse with a different rhythm now, not life, not death, a asterisk countdown asterisk. The Titans knew the old gods could not be destroyed, only caged, but the void was never caged, it was asterisk invited asterisk. The key's flaw is no accident, it is a threshold, a signal, the lock was meant to open. And beneath the roots of the world something stirs, the Watcher's whispers grow urgent, the tablets crack, the veil's blossoms wilt. The trap is sprung, the door is nearly open. The dragon aspects did not bury the void key to seal a threat, they buried it to complete a sentence. The Pantheon's intervention against the Black Empire was never about erasing the old gods, it was about editing their narrative. Azeroth's world soul, rare in its capacity to hold light and rot in equal breath, became the page. The Titans wrote their trap in blood and starlight. The Forbidden Reach is not a prison, it is a footnote. The aspects bound by Titan will etch the cosmic lock into the world's veins, a mechanism to bind both warden and prisoner. The Void Lords, patient as dying stars, let their chains rust. The old gods whisper things in stone, learn to dream in the dark. Azeroth's soul is the only ledger where debt and grace share the same ledger. The Pantheon's arrogance was not in the prison, but in believing containment could outlast curiosity. The Void Key's burial was a signature on a lease. The Titans left, the aspects stood watch. The world soul, ever generous, fed both sides of the bargain. What remains now is the arithmetic. The trap was never meant to hold forever. It was meant to hold long enough for the Pantheon to turn away. And turn they did. The Watcher's whispers are not warnings. They are a countdown. The door is open. The key was never the problem. The lock was. The lock was a Titan's gambit, a cage of starlight and bone. The Maw's rituals obsidian spires, void energy hymn scratch at its surface. Xal'atath's ascension in the war within is the key's whisper. The void reawakens. What if the aspects, so-called guardians, are pawns in a deeper slumber? Each lock shattered, the prison's breath